You know, I don't want to dox anybody. It's Instagram, it's public. If you go to this video, you will see these same commenters, but I wanted to direct your attention to the St. Louis Blues Instagram because 2 days ago, they posted this really nice, funny, family-friendly video of two brothers on the St. Louis Blues doing some sort of a photo shoot. And it's a nice, funny video, you know, it's very heartwarming. It features Pierre-Olivier Joseph and Mathieu Joseph. They're right here in the middle. They're doing the old, what's that movie with Will Ferrell? I have no idea. Yeah, sorry, I was never really a Will Ferrell guy growing up. I saw Elf and that was about it. But this was the Joseph family reunion photo shoot. It was great. But now, this is no longer. Because one of the guys here in this video is no longer a part of the St. Louis Blues. He has just gotten traded back to the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for nothing. P.O. Joseph has been traded over to Pittsburgh for future considerations. He is back, ladies and gentlemen. The Pens have acquired P.O. Joseph for nothing. And I'm kind of waiting for a press release or something because ultimately this isn't really something that I think moves the needle all too much. We spoke about this earlier in today's show, but there is an NHL roster freeze that is going to go on Thursday night. So today, tomorrow morning, we might see some increased activity on the trade front, which is what we had seen with the Capo Caco deal earlier today, as well as P.O. Joseph getting sent over to Pittsburgh once more. Let's dive into the profile here. Pierre-Olivier Joseph is 25 years old, 6'2", 185, left-handed defenseman from Laval, Quebec, Canada, signed on to the end of this season making $950,000 a year. Initially a first-round draft pick by the Arizona Coyotes, he got sent over to Pittsburgh in, I am going to say it was the Alex Galchenyuk trade. Is that correct? Let's go out there and scroll down. I want to verify my sources over here. Details. Let's take a look. Alex Galchenyuk, Phil Kessel. There you go. Oh boy, I thought of that trade as the Galchenyuk trade and not the Kessel trade. I feel like there's some treason involved in that thought process, but still, I was right. P.O. Joseph and Alex Galchenyuk were sent over to Pittsburgh all the way back in 2019, and now, 5 years later, P.O. Joseph is getting sent back over to Pittsburgh in yet another trade. This season with the St. Louis Blues, he had played 23 games and had only scored 2 points. 0 goals, 2 assists for 2 total points on the year. He had a 21-point season with Pittsburgh back in 22-23 before finding himself in St. Louis. In fact, he was on Pittsburgh last season, 11 points in 52 games played. I guess if I were to make a prediction here, what happened, actually, which sent P.O. Joseph to St. Louis in the first place? Was it a signing or was it a trade? Okay, it was just a regular old signing. So I guess the St. Louis Blues decided, hey, we could have this connection because Mathieu Joseph is in our organization. That's great. We could sign his brother. They could both play. P.O. Joseph hasn't necessarily been all too great. And so, with the Pittsburgh Penguins being in a spot now where they've won, I think, 7 of their last 10 games, they're saying to themselves, hey, we're actually pretty all right. We can be competitive in this league. So let's try to get P.O. Joseph back, add on to our depth. We need another defenseman because Marcus Pettersson is out, so why not go with a familiar face, somebody that we know, somebody that's familiar with our organization, and a guy who had spent, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons already in the Pittsburgh Penguins organization. P.O. Joseph is not going to move the needle too much, but he is a familiar face and a guy that a lot of Pens fans would see some comfort in. It is interesting to see the response here because P.O. Joseph to Pittsburgh, this was posted on the St. Louis Blues subreddit. Now I'm sad because they just had those brothers doing the family awkward photo shoot together. This is positive news for the Scott Perunovich fan club. Future considerations is the trade. Future considerations. Yeah, there doesn't really seem to be too much of a big response here. Makes sense after the Cam Fowler trade. POJ for any pick is pretty reasonable given the other option was losing him on waivers. Yeah, sorry. Wiesna 1, 2, 3, but you didn't get anything for him. But trading for Fowler, having an extra D-man, sending P.O. Joseph to Pittsburgh where they need another D-man because Marcus Pettersson is out, makes sense in my mind. It's just kind of unfortunate that the Blues were not able to get anything out of P.O. Joseph in this trade, but considering that he's getting sent over with no real repercussions, it's totally okay. This is a move that helps out everybody involved pretty much. And for P.O. Joseph, I mean, I guess it's kind of weird to see him get separated from his brother like that after just having this photo shoot done. But still, it is something that we have to live with as hockey fans. There are some responses on the Penguin subreddit, too, that I wanted to go out there and read. Dubas and Armstrong are BFFs. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on here. For future considerations, I mean, sure, I guess. I'll take him back basically for free. Really wish it was Graves instead of future considerations. Okay, we can go out there and discuss that as well. But ultimately, this trade doesn't really move the needle too much. It's just an extra trade that we have seen go down in this treacherous period of NHL roster movement right before the roster freeze tomorrow night. If you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What are your thoughts about P.O. Joseph coming back over to your team? How much does this move the needle? And if you're a St. Louis Blues fan, what are your thoughts on what P.O. Joseph has brought over to your squad this year and the entire brother connection with Mathieu Joseph? Honestly, if we take a look, I don't think Mathieu Joseph has been pretty good this season either. If we scroll down here, where is he? I can't even see him. Oh, man. There you go. Mathieu Joseph, 4 points in 21 games played, 27 years old, also from Laval, Quebec, Canada. I mean, he was a lot more productive in Ottawa last year, 35 points, 72 games played. He was really given a role with that Ottawa Senators team. He also was pretty productive with the Tampa Bay Lightning back in 2018-19, but ultimately he wasn't really providing too much value here in St. Louis either. To be fair, though, many St. Louis Blues guys have not necessarily been all too great unless your name is Robert Thomas or Jordan Kyrou. Those guys have been fantastic. Dylan Holloway has been good as of late, but especially from the earlier on portion of the season up until now, these Joseph brothers haven't really been producing all too much. Maybe they're playing a lot better analytically, but just point production-wise, it doesn't look all too great. So maybe if the St. Louis Blues were thinking to themselves, hey, these guys aren't even that good anyway. Like, these brother duo isn't really doing as much as we would expect out of them on the ice. Mathieu Joseph is getting, let's say, 12, 11-ish minutes time on ice a game. Hasn't scored a point in however many games it's been. When was the last time Mathieu Joseph had a point? Okay, it was October 26 in a 5-2 loss against the Montreal Canadiens. When was the last time his brother got a point? I'm also curious about that too. P.O. Joseph, scroll down over here with his 2 points on the season. Okay, he had an assist in a 3-2 victory over the San Jose Sharks on November 21. That was only his second point of the entire year. So unfortunately, with Cam Fowler into the mix, P.O. Joseph's role was not necessarily all too useful, nor needed anymore, which is why he is getting sent over to Pittsburgh. Pens fans, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and also if anybody wants to do any sort of blast to the past, hey, feel free to let me know your thoughts about this trade which went down in 2019. A guy who was once seen as a very valuable young piece in P.O. Joseph is now being traded over back to Pittsburgh for future considerations for nothing, and I think this actually is a pretty okay to decent trade. Not the biggest trade in the world, but still a trade. Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.